Good morning. So you want someone to help you with your meditation and your mindfulness? Well, the best helper that you have is yourself. And to some degree, I think that you recognize this, right? As we all do, not to be superior or less. It's a subject where we need to constantly be aware and reminding ourselves of whom and what we are. There is some thesis that we are different than the other animals that inhabit this world. And I would call this a sense of erroneous conjecture because, in the perspective of life, we're a mammalian and we are the result of evolution. So, for what that's worth, in itself, it is humbling. And it is a lesson to us. It is a reminder to each of us that we need be active in our endeavors for self-improvement. And of course, that's why we're here. So finding a comfortable posture that's undisturbed and is pleasant to settle down, to become aware of your bodily functions, like your breathing, like your body's pulsing, your temperature, different things, whatever those things are in you. And increasing the length of your breathing and its depth so that you can become increasingly more relaxed and more calm, tranquil, at ease. Smile inside. We're all on the same boat, this planet Earth, which we need to nod towards and thank because it is the circumstances of the position of this planet and the strength and the energy released of our sun, combinations of events and circumstances that allow life on this planet to even exist. If we were just a bit closer, or the sun a bit stronger, the bubble of air that we breathe and the water we bathe and are born in would not exist. It would be gone. So I ask you to consider these things and to find in yourself a measure of thankfulness that you have a mind, that you can think, and that you can seek self-improvement. So what are my recommendations for you that are embarking on or a journeyman, journeywoman in your own self-journey towards realizing whom you are in context with this universe of ours, or this world, or your family, or in yourself, and making the time available to think, a time such as this, a time when you can gaze into the distance and wonder what it is like on the other side of whatever it is you're looking at. Imagination. It is looking inside of oneself, into the depths of one's own being, and again, wondering what is on the other side of the equation of our ascent upon this world with curiosity, a sense of respect, a sense of acceptance, a sense of humility when one compares all these different circumstances, realizing how small we are compared to creation. Many stories, many subjects have been developed over the millenniums, say the last 10,000, 20,000 years, about life, about its formation. And science in this time, it's 2024, has accumulated a great deal of knowledge about these subjects, and one, if interested, can learn. Research. It is as easy, if you have access, to the internet, to a computer. So there is many directions that one can take to ascertain the facts that I'll talk about freely, and the circumstances of our civilization's development, its ideologies, its religions, its social customs, its etc. It's a bugaboo of things all mixed together, a giant stew of humanity, of all life upon this planet. When you are sitting here, comfortably postured, undisturbed, thinking about your breath, thinking about your heart's steady pulsing of energy into your vascular system, creating the continuation of your life. This is pretty important stuff. When you are doing that and have a sense of this momentum that's been created, then that's mindfulness. There are many elaborate structures that we have built over the millenniums. In many ways they mask or attempt to mask the truth of whom we are. We are animals. We are mammals. It is as simple as that. When you look in the distance at night and the stars are shining, you can see about 5,000. That's what astronomers say. If you go to the other side of the world, you can see another 5,000. It's just all that the naked eye can see. That's a lot. It seems like a lot, right? If you go to the Hubble, the telescope situated in space, then the perspective, the image change. And instead of thousands of stars, you see trillions of stars. You see galaxies. You see a galaxy that we are in. And you gain a sense of where we are in the galaxy. But nonetheless, what you begin to see is a wider picture of creations creating. Our science further speculates the diameter of this universe is 90 billion light years wide. Understanding that light travels 186,400 miles in a second. You can do the math. Understanding that there are trillions of stars, many of which have planets revolving around them, if not all, that we begin to understand and come to a speculation that we are not the only life on this planet, right? In the universe. Add to this the circumstances where unusually featured beings have been illustrated in the past, in prehistoric times, historical times, and even today with UFOs. I think it is fair to assume that life is much more abundant than many would say. It is food for thought, and it is most likely true. There is a certain sense of silliness in our world, that we are the bestest and the brightest that the universe has to offer. I ask you to reconsider this. We are, in many ways, miraculous, and in many ways, not meeting the potential that we have. Maybe through additional time, we can continue growing in more positive ways. I cannot help but reflect upon the many inhumanities, acts of destructiveness that are currently going on our world, both physically destructive and spiritually, psychologically, mentally as well. These are trying times, and the dawning of this age of Aquarius 10, 20,000 years ago has just begun. It is more likely in the hundreds of thousands or millions of years for evolution to make itself felt, though we have a while. In the meantime, God knows we need to practice becoming better human beings, treating our cousins as family members rather than as fodder, animals to be slaughtered. It would behoove us to make every effort to grow up. It is disappointing. It is our human nature. It is our human nature. But nonetheless, it is disappointing to see, to follow the wars, the way we treat each other exemplifies our animal nature. When can we rise above ourselves, our immaturities, our foolishness, our lack of discipline, our sense of greed, our sense of inadequacies? When can we rise and become more worthy? You can do this with meditation and mindfulness, but it is not these tools alone. It is how you drive, how you interact, how you think that brings the results about. If you have a car, You can race it every time you get in it. You sit down and you hit the pedal on the metal and zoom around. Or you could creep, barely having enough momentum to move ahead, and everything in between. You could drive recklessly, or you can drive carefully. And of course, you need to take care of the car, or it won't run at all, or poorly, or it will break down all the time. You can apply this analogy to humans. We do the same thing. So keeping our cars, ourselves, clean, well-maintained, and choosing carefully the way that you drive are in the best benefits for ourselves. You are doing this with your sense of wanting to develop a practice, but it is important to accumulate values, virtues, characteristics, qualities that are worthy of heightening the value, the prestige, the reputation of the human race. Not denigrate it, but to raise it. So Zoran the gardener admonishes not only himself, but you to seed yourself with self-improvement. You have 86,400 moments in every day to do just that. I'm not asking that you spend 10 or 15 minutes in meditation. I'm asking you to be aware whenever you can, all day, in moments, in a few moments, realizing whom you are, where, when, how, why. Asking these questions so that you may elicit within yourself a sense of perspective greater than you had a moment before. And this sense of perspective that you awaken brings you a measure of wisdom, of maturity, that you see a little bit clearer, a little further than you did before. That is the success we're looking for. Finding a sense of awe when you look inside or when you look further afield and realize whom, what, where, when, why, and how we got here. When you do this, you cannot help but find a sense of humility and a sense of awe. If you are appreciative in the first place for life. So yes, it is a great thing to realize and know that you can change your perspective by just sitting and meditating and being mindful and utilizing your mind to explore what we know of the universe. But it is just as important to be positive about your outlook, about the way you conceive what you want to accomplish in our world. I leave you with these thoughts. It is not easy. You are bucking the tide. It takes effort to do this. It takes consistency. It is why I do this every day, to lend a sense of consistency to what we need to hear, to what we need to find, to help us open our own eyes. And how do we literally open our own eyes? Figuratively, in a moment or two or three. As you breathe in, be appreciative that the air is clean and full of energy. And as you satiate yourself with your inhale, remembering the width, the breadth of creation, of life upon this planet Earth, being 1 billion years old. Our DNA, our blueprint, our computer code is hundreds of millions of years, if not that 1 billion years old. Hundreds of millions of years. Be humbled and be in awe of your own heritage. And as you exhale, sigh. Sigh with this sound of awe. And be thankful as you come into this final pause before you begin this process of creating yourself again in a new moment. 86,400 times you have every day to remember whom you are. There is no excuse. Just do it. Do it once. Do it twice. Do it 10 times. Do it 50 times. Do it 100 times. And you will be so much greater than you are when you don't do this. Seed yourself with thoughts of improvement, with thoughts of quality and virtue. Learning how to talk to yourself, to your soul, through experience, listening and learning and becoming and verifying these things inside of yourself. Not because someone has told you, not because it is written in a book, but because of your experience of this miracle of being alive. Have a lovely day.